Of course, he starts rookie camp today. Will Howard out of Ohio State. We'll see what he brings to the table. Draft him in the 6th round, and right now they continue to talk about Mason Rudolph being in pole position to be the starter there, but Will Howard part of this group as well. Now, with George Pickens' departure to Dallas, here's what the Steelers' wide receiver room looks like. Here's who Howard, Mason Rudolph, maybe Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing to. Robert Woods, DK Metcalf, the veterans, but they're both in their first season with Pittsburgh. And the most career receiving yards for any returning player is 1,154 by Scotty Miller. No one else has 1,000 yards in their careers. Steelers GM Omar Khan on how the Pickens deal came about.
Was reached out, I don't really remember what day it was, but earlier this week, and they gave us, they proposed something that we discussed where things, I guess, have been with George, where they are, and where things could go with George, and this trade made sense for everyone. We had 3 years with George, and we had some exciting times, but. It was just time for the fresh start for both sides was the right thing. Roman's healthy. I've seen him the last couple weeks out here and how he's doing, and we saw how he was progressing at the end of last year. Obviously, he didn't get the chance to get on the field, but there was some excitement there. But we have a good group. There's some guys that are back, and we've seen their growth and have another year under our belt with them, and we're chasing a championship, and every decision we make is based on trying to win a championship, not only, in the future, but this year.
Yeah, I mean, right? That's what fans want to hear. But D. Wood, new quarterback, new wide receiver, new running backs. Do you expect there to be a leadership void amongst the players, especially on offense for the Steelers team?
Well, usually when you talk about leadership, it happens organically. And the way it happens organically is by a few factors. One, guys who, been there, been through the fire, been through all the things that's been going on within the organization. But ultimately, what it comes down to? Production. Mm-hmm. You're not going to follow anyone who doesn't go out there and ball out on the field. And so, a guy that came to mind was Pat Freiermuth, guy who's been with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's been a productive guy, fan favorite type of guy. That's the type of guy that I could ideally see to be, potentially be a leader. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the players in the locker room gravitate to the guys who are out there producing on the field.
Yeah, and I think this leadership that that is voided with the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to come down to the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers comes to mind for me. I think Aaron Rodgers comes in, he brings in a different leadership value, and it's a leadership value that I believe they need. They had Russell Wilson, it didn't work for them. Aaron Rodgers can come in and he can do the veteran leadership. He can take DK Metcalf. They can do special things. He can take the rookie running back, Jaylen Warren, under his wing, get them going a little bit, and then have that camaraderie with the offensive line to really protect him, and they could do something.
Do you know something we don't know, that Aaron Rodgers is definitely going there? The way you said that, it sounded
convincing.
Yeah.
Huh? You heard it here first.
We put that on the bottom line, as reported by Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Where are we on this Rodgers situation?
So I've checked in on this with people with the Steelers. They say, look, we're still hopeful. We've been in contact with Aaron Rodgers, but there's no hard updates. We continue to wait. His first foray into free agency in 20 years was always going to be unpredictable, but they are counting on him essentially being the quarterback. They like Mason Rudolph as a backup plan. And look, at wide receiver, they're going to have to add somebody, but they like Roman Wilson, 3rd-round pick from last year. They say he's night and day better. He's off the injuries he had a year ago, so they expect him to step into a prominent role. They also have 3 third-round picks in 2026 they could package as a potential trade target for somebody else.
It does feel like 2026 makes a lot of sense if they don't make moves, even if they get Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position. It's supposed to be a better quarterback class. All right, we talked about Pickens going from Pittsburgh to Dallas. I saw you reporting no long-term deal there for him. Why is that?
Yeah, he's going to play it out because Pickens knows that his value can skyrocket if he puts together a complete season, not just on the field with the production, but off it, because the issues in Pittsburgh were very clear. It was maturity and it was accountability or lack thereof. He can go to Dallas, try to show that, because from what I was told, he actually didn't want to leave Pittsburgh. He was loyal to Mike Tomlin, wanted to see it through, but then once the trade was going through, he's like, look, I get to play with Dak Prescott, the best quarterback he's had in the league, top 10 guy, really.
And supporting cast, too.
That's what I'm saying. He's got CD Lamb there, so he's going to put up numbers for sure. If he can go in, be a good soldier, show that he can, be on the up and up from a personality standpoint, and the Cowboys know how to manage some of those personalities as well. So he's going to hit it big. Dallas is totally comfortable with that because they get a year with him, and they can get a comp pick if he does leave and sign somewhere else.
Lord, let me tell you something. If you can't put up numbers this year, then I just don't understand it. And in a contract year with a top 10 quarterback, Come on.
And not getting double teamed like he was in Pittsburgh. CD's taking the double team.
No, that's a good point. I mean, you saw the numbers he put up in Pittsburgh is pretty remarkable considering, and he wasn't even healthy for some of that time. Now, Mina, we've talked a lot this offseason about some of the roster issues in Dallas. We turn our attention there. With most of the player movement now done, where are the holes still for the Cowboys?
I think the biggest hole is the same as last year and the year before, and that's run defense. Kyle's Ravens ran for, I believe, 274 yards on them, and they were not alone. This was a bottom 5 run defense by just about every metric. And while they addressed pass rush in the draft, they added a cornerback who I really like. The spine of the defense remains an issue for me. Defensive tackle, linebacker. I think Dallas's best chance of stopping the run is for the offense to be so productive that teams have to pass on them, because I do not think their run defense issues are fixed. All
right, we'll leave it there and continue to keep our eyes on those Cowboys. But new on NFL Live, Jeremy, you have some news about Jaire Alexander. What's going on there?
Yeah, checking on Alexander with the Packers. I'm told they have discussed a potential resolution to his contract situation. They've talked about a trade, but the Packers just simply have not been comfortable with any sort of deal. So I'm told that Alexander, as it stands, is prepared to honor his contract unless the Packers can come to an agreement on a revised deal that benefits both sides. So he's due $17+ million next year. Can they find a sweet spot? It is looking more and more likely that he'll be a Packer at this point. I think they can work something out, but we'll see.
Huge for Packers fans and Green Bay's defense. All right, we're just getting started here on NFL Live. Jackson Dart, you guys aren't with me on that. I was trying to have fun there. Nobody wanted to chime in. All right, let's go to the Giants. Jackson Dart getting ready to go, and you see him out there, Brian Daboll right there in the mix with everything that Jackson Dart's going to be doing. Big question is, how soon do we see him? Giants head coach Brian Daboll on Dart and their relationship from earlier today.
Yeah, I'd say just with any young player, Patty, you're doing everything you can to, again, there's a long list of things that you have to go through with all these players. Quarterback is a particularly hard position mentally. We're going to put everything we got into it. I know he will too. And there'll be some struggles and there'll be some good things, and that's what you learn from. But excited to work with him.
He's constantly, coaching me, and I think that's what I want to be around. I want to be I want to be coached the hardest. And I feel like that's going to help me excel at the highest level and help me reach my potential. So there's not another coach I'd rather be playing for.
Oh, man, it's been rough for the Giants since Eli Manning retired after the 2019 season. The G-men have thrown for 15 or fewer touchdowns in 4 of the 5 seasons since Eli left. That's twice as many as the next closest teams. Here's our Giants reporter Jordan Renan on how the quarterbacks looked today.
Thanks, Laura. It was easy to see in just one practice what the Giants like about Jackson Dart. He was out there getting guys in position at the line of scrimmage, fitting throws into tight windows. He even gathered the guys together on the bus ride home yesterday and went over plays in order to be prepared